Hey everyone, welcome back to another unboxing video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Hulk from Age of Ultron, as well as the Captain America, which I believe is also from Age of Ultron, as well as the Hiya Toys Mothra from Godzilla King of the Monsters. So pretty cool little action figures. Two of them, the Avengers ones, I actually got from a local comic book convention that I went to. But the Hiya Toys Mothra I got from Big Bad Toy Store. So yeah, pretty cool figures. Let's go ahead and check them out. Okay, so because like I said, I got these figures at a comic book convention. I actually got them loose, so they didn't come with any boxes. So we're just gonna take a look at the figures and take a look at the Hulk first. Okay, so as for painting and sculpting, this guy is actually pretty well done. Although I will say, some of the details, compared from like his arms and legs, even face, compared to like his body, seem a little weird. Like, there's just something about like his arms, especially, look very like well detailed, textured, and even the paint seems kind of like a little darker, where the body itself looks very smooth. Like, I don't know, and the green seems a little lighter. So I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else sees it, but it's still pretty cool. And I don't know if this is the Build-A-Figure version or if this is the one that came with the Hulkbuster, but because I remember there was like a 2-pack with the Hulkbuster for the 10-year anniversary. But it's a pretty cool looking figure. And I think the Age of Ultron version is probably, like, in my opinion, one of the better ones aside from like the Avengers version. But I don't think they have like the original Avengers Hulk. I think so. For me, Age of Ultron is probably like, second best. I mean, I don't know if anyone likes the Ragnarok design. I mean, the short hair is just kind of a little weird, but it works. And obviously, Gladiator Hulk would have been pretty cool. But I was just trying to get a Hulk and a Captain America for my collection. I'm trying to get all 6 OG Avengers. But yeah, and I'm getting pretty close. I still got Hawkeye, but yeah, I mean, like I said, painting and sculpting, it's pretty solid. It's nothing too crazy, but I think from what I remember of Age of Ultron, it's pretty close, spot on to what we saw in that movie. But taking a look at some articulation. Articulation is pretty solid. There's obviously ball jointed head, ball jointed waist, which does look a little weird, but it works. And then obviously a lot of hinge and swivel joints. There's a double jointed arms and legs, knees and elbows. I mean, the only problem I have is maybe the waist joint. I feel like it's a little weird. The waist design doesn't seem the best, and the feet don't move up. They just kind of move down. Then when you try to move them up, they don't go really far up. So it's hard to get them any like crawling poses. But it works. It's still pretty solid. Alright, now taking a look at Captain America, like I said with the Hulk, I mean, sculpting and detail is pretty solid. Now, I do believe this is the Age of Ultron version. I only say that because of the A and the fact that his chest doesn't have the scale pattern that it does in the Endgame. But I really thought that this was going to be the Endgame Captain America. When I asked the guy, he said, oh yeah, I think this is the Endgame one. So I kind of assumed. Either way, I mean, it's still not a bad. I mean, the design stayed pretty consistent throughout, like, pretty much from Age of Ultron to Civil War to all the way till Endgame. There's just slight variations, so it doesn't bother me too bad, and it's still a pretty good looking Captain America. I like all the detail, and even the painting of the kind of battle damage look is pretty sweet. And as far as I know, it is the paint, like the colors seem pretty accurate, spot on to what we saw in that movie. And yeah, and like even the sculpting, like I like the way the wrinkles and everything for like certain parts of like the pants, the cargo pants, and then like the armor. The armor look is like the chest and all that. So like it looks really cool. It has that very tactical look to it. And even the shield itself is just really well done. And yeah, just take a look at its articulation. So the articulation is very similar to Hulk's, except because it's a smaller figure, they're able to implement just a little more points of articulation, which overall just makes it a much easier figure to pose. It just comes with the ball joints for the head, and then I believe just a bunch of hinge and swivel joints for like basically the entire body. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. I think even like a swivel on the like under the knees. I forgot what you call that, but just where you can like swivel, and it just like lets him move his feet. The hinge for the waist, which not the best looking, but still it allows for a pretty good range of motion. Just like I said, a bunch of hinge and swivel joints, and just kind of your standard, more American type of articulation. or at the very least lower end type of articulation. Like, it's not ball joints everywhere, but it still allows for a pretty good range of motion. And here's the one accessory, being the shield. But now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some kind of photos of some poses I was able to get these guys into. And for some size comparisons, here's Hulk and Captain America with the Star Wars The Black Series Obi-Wan. McFarlane Toys Superman from Justice League. And Jazzware's Master Chief from Halo Infinite. So that about does it for these Avengers figures. Let's take a look at the next figure, which is the Hiya Toys Mothra. So taking a look at the Hiya Toys Mothra now, I do apologize if some of the details or whatever are a little hard to see. The figure itself, at least the body, is very, very small. It's a very tiny figure. This lines up with the 6-inch Hiya Toys figure. So even though this is like supposed to be like a 6-inch scale, it's still very tiny. But it's still a really, really cool looking figure. There's a lot of really nice little details that are on the sculpt itself, especially on the main body. Like, for how small it is, they managed to get some really good details on there. However, the paint for the body is a little bit lacking on some of the legs. But even with that said, it's still cool to see that they're able to paint some of the smallest details, like the eyes, having a very nice bright blue. And the wings, I think, are the selling point on this. They're very good. Now, sadly, they don't have a wire in them, so they can't bend the way the Rodan did. However, I've seen some where, because the plastic is translucent and it's a very thin plastic, you could actually heat it up a bit. Not too much, but just a bit, and bend it a little bit into shape. So if you want to give Mothra more of a curvature to her wings, which she did for a lot of the scenes in King of the Monsters, you can do that. And the articulation is really good too, for at least for the King of the Monsters Mothra design. For a while, the best one was the NECA, but I think that this one, just like Rodan, takes it. It's a really solid figure, and it's a really good representation of what we saw on screen. Very accurate to what we see. And the articulation just helps all. It's a really nice blend of what NECA is able to do along with SH Monster Arts. Sadly, the wings have these really bulky hinge joints, and even though you can swivel the wings and get them in more dynamic ranges, it's hard to do it because the hinge joints kind of hinder the wings from moving. With that being said, if this was done with ball joints, I could see this being kind of very frightening, because for it to peg in, the ball joints and whatnot would have to be very, very small and thin, and that could lead to a lot of breakages. So I think the hinge joints were the best kind of, it was kind of a middle ground. But even with that said, the articulation is still great. And just, again, the figure just looks fantastic, and it comes with the little base. The base I don't really care for. In fact, trying to get this in the Rodanza pose, it really was very frustrating, annoying. It wasn't a very fun experience, but it has a lot of articulation, so you can kind of try to pose it. It just doesn't hold the Mothra very well, and mine has an issue of having the abdomen pop off a lot, so it just makes it really hard for it to kind of hold this Mothra up. But either way, solid figure. And let's go ahead and take a look at some pictures that I got to pose it in. So for some size comparisons, here's the NECA Mothra with the Hiya Toys Mothra. Here's the SH Monster Arts Mechagodzilla, the Playmates Skullcrawler and Warbat from Godzilla vs. Kong, and the Hiya Toys Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong. So that about does it for the video. I appreciate y'all for watching. My overall thoughts about these figures, they're really solid. Again, I got 2 of them loose, but even so, they're still, I still feel like, having enough Marvel Legends, I could figure that, like, the quality, it's pretty solid. And they're pretty cool, representations of the characters. Like I said earlier in the video, I was trying to fill out the original 6 Avengers so I could complete my original Avengers lineup, so I could have next to the Justice League lineup that I have going on. But yeah, really cool. And the Mothra itself is really nice. I feel like by itself, I don't know if it's worth the $40, but then again, knowing as how these figures are selling out, it's, you probably might need to get it right now. But even with that said, I think they are doing re-releases, so if you are interested, just kind of keep up to date on that. I mean, they're on Big Bad Toy Store. They're like $50, $60 with shipping. Again, I feel like maybe slightly overpriced, but still really solid figure. I really like it, and it's, again, great representation. Probably the best version we have in 6-inch form of Mothra from King of the Monsters. And just overall, yeah, really enjoyable figures. So I appreciate y'all for watching. Keep in tune. I know I haven't posted any actual art videos in a while. I'm trying to get some up. I have a couple lined up. I'm trying to get those finished. I've been kind of busy, and also this one project I've been working on has been just giving me a hard time. I had to push that back a lot. So yeah, I'm trying to get videos going, but just stay tuned. I have a couple lined up. Hopefully I'll get them out soon. And yeah, just check out my Instagram page, Giovanni Arts and Collectibles, and that's about it. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.